Hey, in the morning, everyone. It's Kevin from Real Boring Flips, and I have to tell you, the weather here in Gig Harbor, Washington is fantastic today. I can look out the window and I can almost see the tide flats. It's so beautiful out. I'm just gonna sit down here and enjoy a Waterloo sparkling water cherry limeade, not a sponsor. But as I was getting ready to pack up a couple of solds, which you will see in the This Week in Solds next week's episode, so stay tuned for that. I just was realizing that part of what I want to do with this channel is really provide value for value. So you're providing me value by watching these episodes, liking, subscribing, giving me comments, excellent comments, thank you. So I want to make sure I'm giving you value back. And in one way I want to do that is to give you some of the keys that I've come to understand or maybe realize over the years I've been reselling. And so today I just want to run through five, what I would call my top 5 keys to reselling success. But I'm also, in order to give you a little more extra value today, give you a bonus key to success. So the first one really starts where you would expect. It starts with the sourcing the items you're going to resell. Now, unless you just have a house full of things that you just want to sell, which I also do that, you're going out, you're looking for items, you're going to garage sales, estate sales, flea markets, wherever you source your stuff. I mean, it really could be practically anywhere. But my key here is to be picky. I'm picky on condition, and I'll show you what I mean. This mitt that I just recently bought, I buy mitts all the time, but over time I've gotten pickier and pickier. The better looking, the better the mitt is, the better condition it is. I don't have Jimmy's name written on here, no scuffs, no torn pieces. The better condition, the better success you will have. Not only condition, but also price. That has to be, you have to be able to obtain it for a good enough price that you can then sell it and make a good profit. To be honest, that mitt is right on the fringe of what I would pay. I paid $15 for that, probably get $40 to $45 for that mitt. But it's in such good condition, I will have a better sell-through rate, I believe. So that's the third part, is it makes no sense to buy things that no one's buying, except for you, apparently. So sourcing is your first key. The second part, obviously, is once you got the item, you've got to list it for sale. So there's a few parts of listing that you need to pay attention to. One, obviously, is photographs. Do your best. Don't use an old iPhone 3 camera phone. Get a nice camera, I have an iPhone 8, which does take great photos. I think I'm going to upgrade at some point here. But I also have a Nikon D3500 that will link directly to my phone and then upload into my iPhotos app. So spend time taking good quality photos. The other thing that a lot of people don't do is you've got 24 photos you can upload in eBay for your items. Try to use as many photos as you can. And then obviously, I think I talked about this on a previous video, but I used to use my son's red baby blanket as a background. I thought it looked great. It made my listings jump out. It does not help at all when you're trying to get your items searchable on Google and Google Lens. So make sure you're using a white background or delete the background using the eBay photo app. But great quality photos, good lighting. You don't have to be a photo studio. I do have a light box that my kids got me for Christmas one year that does give a little better lighting and the white background. So photos. The second part, obviously, is you got to adequately describe your item. You got to choose your title wisely, something that someone is going to be typing in because they want to find that on eBay. So spend there. A lot of times I will do search for solds and then sell like, or sell similar or whatever. But I always kind of edit that title. Now, one of the things I do is I edit the title so that the first word is kind of the key word that, and partly I do that because that's all going to go into my database, my sales transactions, and I want it sorted that way. I want to be able to find it in an alphabetical order. I know that, you know, it's a Rawlings or whatever mitt or glove. So I might put glove first, and then I know, okay, that's a glove. I'm going to go look for gloves. But take advantage of the title. Take advantage of all those specified parts of the listing. You know, if you can describe, like, if you can measure the size of that mitt, which there's different ways you can do that, depending on what kind of mitt it is. Accurately measure it so you can provide that. That's a right hand throw mitt, so it goes on your left hand because you're throwing with your right hand. Make sure you're adequately describing title, specified part of the listings, and then in the description, I wouldn't necessarily do the AI because I haven't had much success getting an actual description out of that is something that I would want to use. I use it on occasion, but I'll use it in conjunction with my description. And a lot of times I'll just take the title, put it down in the description, and then add to that. And then, for items where you've got to provide some of the condition, like say this had a name written on the inside, in description or in condition, I would say, hey, it's got Jimmy's name written on the inside. And then I'll also copy that back down into the description. And the reason I do that is a lot of times people are looking on their phone. They're not at a desktop. They're not at a big screen. And they completely skip all that information. They just see title. So if you have any concerns with your item, I always add like a dash and then read in the title in all caps. Because that's just one more way to say, hey, go look at the description because there's some important information there. And then so you've got the photos, you've got the description. Now you come down to obviously price. You want to make sure you're pricing it properly. Now, I do calculated shipping. I take offers. My pricing typically is I'll go look at what the item has sold for recently, the total, and then because I'm charging shipping, I make sure and look, where should this item sell, but because I've also got offers, that gives me some flexibility. It gives buyers flexibility too, and I'll get to that in a minute. But just make sure your actual shipping information is correct, and that you're pricing the item where you want to. Some people, depending on the item, they want to price it high. Maybe there's none available, but the last one sold for $100, but there's none available now. Sure, don't price it at 100, price it at 120 or whatever, because you can. So that's number two. That's your key to success is properly listing the item. Now, as I mentioned, taking offers. I do make offer on my listings, pretty much all of them. There might be, I might have a couple out there that I don't do, and primarily I don't do them because they're items that I consistently get crazy lowball offers, so I just don't even accept the offer. But I do make offers, and then two other things that I think are really important and will really help you be successful is I send regular offers to people that are watching my items. Now, a lot of times, like you probably do, I watch items all the time because I just wanted to see what they are, how they sell or whatever. I'm not watching them to buy them. So I know a lot of my watchers probably aren't really interested in buying my items, but I still will do like a 10% or 15% or 20% offer on a weekly basis to certain items. I guess I would also couch that with, are you in a sales boom or in a sales slump? If you're in a sales boom, I probably wouldn't do any offers. But if you're in a sales slump, I'd probably start doing that. That's different than just lowering your price. Making offers goes to just the people that are watching that particular item. The other thing you can do, which I do on occasion, but I don't do this as much, mostly because I'm doing other things that I think are successful as well. And that's to offer sales. So you can offer sales on a particular item, or maybe a whole bunch of items, or all of your items. I have a wide range of prices on things, and so I don't necessarily want to just say 10% off the whole store. And as I've talked before, I'm part-time. I need, for me to be satisfied at this point, I need 2 to 3 sales a day. I don't need 15 every day, because that's too much for me. I've got 2 here to ship out today. That's good. So those are that's number 3, offers and discounts. Make offers, send offers, and do sales, occasional sales. So the next part is you've sold the item, and now you're to this point. You're to the packing point. I'll just use this one as an example. It's already in a box, so I can't show you, but this is a vintage bottle of shaving lotion. And so it's a bottle inside a wooden box. It's got the wood cap on the bottle. So I wrapped all that in a plastic film, taped that on. Not crazily, but just enough to, hey, I'm gonna just give a little bit of protection to keep that cap from coming loose and spilling stuff out. And then I put that whole box, wrap that whole box, and then I put that box inside a plastic bag with absorbents that I then sealed. And then that all went inside this box, and this box is gonna go inside this box. Now, the reason I'm doing that, partly because it's liquids in there, and when you're going to ship liquids, you got to ship absorbent with them. And so I've taken several different measures to prevent, in the event of a spill, prevent a real problem. So when I do ship this, I have to notify whichever shipper I use that there is liquids in there, and make sure that it kind of meets their requirements. But kind of what I say to people when I say, how I do packing, I pack stuff like I'm shipping it to my mom. It doesn't look like crap. It's properly packed. It's going to get there in one piece. I do reuse packing material. As a part of, that's not one of my keys for this thing, but you got to keep your expenses as low as possible so that you can then make as much as you can on the items that you're selling. So this is a used package. I'm going to take this label off. You might see where the label was. I might have to scratch out, like I scratched out, there was something the shipper wrote on the end there. It's okay to reuse material, but do it in a way that looks professional. And like the Facebook group that I was chatting about this on, I couldn't believe that people were getting feedback about reusing packaging. Well, it turns out it was someone used a used pizza box to send something in. Don't use reuse pizza boxes. That's ridiculous. It's got to be clean. It's got to be professional looking, well packed, well padded, because you want, I will take this and I will throw it because I know that that's packed that way. And if you think your package isn't going to get thrown like that, then you're sadly mistaken. So do your packing to prevent any issues when that package is tossed 5 feet down the air. So that's 4, packing and shipping. So here's number 5, and this is the thing everyone hates doing, but I've found over time it's really a must. You really have to do this. You really have to give your time, make time. Don't allow yourself to delay this, and that's record keeping. That however you're doing your record keeping, like for me, the records I keep are I inventory items that I buy, so I know the date I bought them, I know what they are, I know how much I paid, I know because of my state has a sales tax and I can recoup that. I keep track of when I pay sales tax for an item that I'm going to resell. And then I keep track of what store I bought it from. That's kind of the basic information I keep on inventory. And then when I sell an item, I keep track of obviously the date I sold it, but what the item was and what the buyer paid for shipping, because I do calculated shipping. So what they paid and then what I paid. And in that same that's another tab on my spreadsheet, but I right there, as soon as I ship it, I also will go find, if I don't remember, I'll go find in my inventory how much I actually paid for it. And I'll just put that right there. So it's October 1st today, so I just downloaded my quarterly report from eBay. So I will kind of format that report. I'll add in a couple of fields. One is shipping cost, so what it actually costs to ship, and item cost, so what it cost me to buy the item. So that spreadsheet that I'm keeping for shipping, I'll use those fields to enter. I'll go down into the spreadsheet. Now there's some automated ways, like I know there's Flipwise, which I was a beta tester on. It just, for the cost of it, it wasn't adding more for me. Now maybe if I'm selling 5,000 items a year, that might be more beneficial, but for me, I'm selling say 500 items a year, 600 items a year. This process is a little better for me and cost effective. So record keeping. So I also, because I'm in the state of Washington, I have to file a quarterly Department of Revenue report for any sales in the state of Washington. So all that report also all goes into documenting what my sales in the state of Washington were, so that I can then issue my report there. Because I kept track on inventory when I paid sales tax for an item, that also goes into that quarterly Department of Revenue report, so that I can then get my sales tax money back. Now, I didn't realize that when I started reselling seriously a few years ago after I got my business license. I just thought, well, they didn't take my reseller permit, I guess I'm stuck. I paid the sales tax. Oh well. Well, it turns out I realized a couple of years in that, I can get that back. So I ended up refiling 2.5 years worth of Department of Revenue reports, and to get all that money back, which it was probably $2,500. And then because it had taken so long for me to get it back, I got interest on that as well. State sent me an interest payment as part of that. So that was really beneficial. So that kind of spurred me into making sure my record keeping is on point. So the other things that you should be keeping track of are any of your expenses. You buy tape or bubble wrap, or maybe you had to buy a remote to work for something that you were selling. The other thing, I just got a return request yesterday. So what it's going to cost me to actually get that item back, and I'll probably talk about that item in another video because it's torquing me off. So you keep track of all that, because that now becomes part of your cost of obtaining that item. And then in addition to stuff like that, anytime you have an insurance claim, keep track of, like I had an item that I ended up getting the insurance claim for, but that really wasn't the value of the item. I sold the item for $100. It was really worth quite a bit more. I just took a $100 offer, and then FedEx damaged it, so I could only get $100. It's like a $300 item, and so keep track of all that, because that plays into your end of year tax return. So that's the 5. That's number 5, the record keeping. That's my 5 keys to successful reselling. Here's the bonus, probably the most controversial part. Block buyers with reckless abandon. I block people all the time for any reason, and it usually starts with the tingling spidey senses you get when you just know something's going to go south. And this return request that I just got is indicative of me not paying attention to my spidey senses. But the reason I say this is, you as a reseller on eBay specifically, there's a large group of people out there that are your potential customers, and you really have to weed out the ones that are potentially bad customers. How do you do that? So kind of the first thing that I notice that tells me I got a potential bad buyer: too many questions, too much detail, asking too many details. Hey, in that photo it looks like there's a scuff there, and you say it's in nice condition. That is immediate block. I'm not even answering your question. You're blocked. I've had this over and over again. I would say 95% of the returns or other kinds of claims, negative feedbacks or neutral feedback, it's always started with tingling spider senses that said, I should just block this person. I don't want to sell to this person. It can be, I think back in the day, you used to be able to not sell to anyone if they didn't have a certain number of feedback, and then eBay got rid of that option. And it's not always someone with zero feedback or low feedback or new. It just comes down to whether or not they're giving off any, you could call them vibes, giving off any vibes that are telling you probably be better off if I move along to someone else. I mentioned earlier that I take offers. So one of the things I also do is, before I accept an offer, I go look, okay, is this person brand new? Did they just get their eBay account yesterday? Do they have zero feedback, or do they have crazy feedback? So that plays a role in whether or not I accept an offer. In most cases, I don't. And when I mentioned about this return request, it's the one I accepted an offer, even though I had a little bit of spidey senses tingling. I should have paid attention to that one. The other one this drives me nuts. I know a lot of people are frustrated by this, and that's why they don't do offers or make offers. Is they don't like to have an item for $100 and have someone go, okay, here's my $50 offer. And they want you to go, okay, well, here's my $75 counter, so that they can then counter at $62. So when people are in that game with me, I don't do that. If you make an offer and it's too low, I decline it. If you make an offer that's within reason but not where I want it, I might counter. But that's my counter. That's it. That's the price I'm willing to take. So if you come back and go a little lower, like if you saw my selling my Ferrari video, I talk about that with that Ferrari. If someone's doing that with me, I may not block them, but if I get nasty comments, like I'll get a, hey, didn't you see my offer? Block. So, and then anytime I get a return, they're just on the block list. It doesn't matter. They are now known to me as someone who returns items on eBay that specifically, like especially if the item, like they say it doesn't work and I get it back and it works, you're blocked. You're not only blocked, but you're also reported as a bad buyer. And then this is kind of the last one that, for the most part, I just ignore this stuff, but so many times I get offers that say, my kid really wants this, I don't have the money to buy it, will you take this? No, sorry, I'm doing this as to provide for my family. I'm not a charity. Or, hey, I'm dying of cancer, will you give me this? Or will you sell this at this price? No. Or, hey, it's my son's birthday, he'd really like this, will you take this offer? No. I'm not a charity. So if I get stuff like that, especially with a nasty note attached, block. So I realize this bonus key is probably controversial to some people because they don't agree with that. But trust me, you will benefit yourself by weeding out the vast majority of people that are bad buyers for you, that are seeing your items. Sure, you might have some collateral damage. You might wipe out a couple of people that really could have been good buyers. But there's many more out there. Don't worry about it. Just do your best to move past those things. I have a huge block list. I don't remember what those people, what they actually did to get on there necessarily, but they're on there for a reason. So that's my bonus key for reselling success. Thank you again. I hope you did get value out of this video. I'm trying to do a little more things that really show kind of how I do, what I've learned over the years. I watch so many YouTube videos that there's tons of these things, but do yourself a favor and watch as many as you can, because you'll get little nuggets here and there from everyone. I hope these nuggets were valuable for you. I thank you if you liked this video and hit like or smash like. And if you haven't, please subscribe. I'm really trying to build this channel to hopefully interact more with people that are watching. So please comment. I read all those comments and reply to everything. So that's really encouraging to me to see that stuff. So again, thank you very much. And please, as always, join me next time.